Hello everyone. So we will continue with our topic where we left in the last session. Just a small recap. We were discussing about the deficiency diseases caused due to the metal ions inside the body, and the first disease which we talked about, or the first metal ion rather which we talked about, was the deficiency of iron in the biological system. And the diseases which were connected with the deficiency of iron was anemia, and the disease as written in the last line, and the disease connected with the excess of iron in the body, which was siderosis, and the remedies for the both excess as well as deficiency were discussed accordingly. Then another one which we were discussing was sickle cell anemia, which is of course not due to any kind of deficiency or excess, but a genetic disorder in the hemoglobin. Another one, which is pernicious anemia, is also called cobalt deficiency anemia. Now this disease has nothing to do with the deficiency or excess of iron. Instead, it is linked with the deficiency of cobalt inside the biological system. Now just like iron is the central atom in hemoglobin, cobalt is the central atom in vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is an important vitamin which is required by our biological system. This is the structure of vitamin B12, where cobalt is in the center surrounded by the Corrin ring, and if we compare it with the structure of heme, where iron is in the center surrounded by the 4 pyrrole rings, and this whole structure is termed as the porphyrin ring. And this again come back to the structure of vitamin B12, where cobalt is surrounded by 4 pyrrole rings, and this ring structure is called the Corrin ring structure. And the difference between the two structures, major difference between the two structures, is that the conjugation in case of vitamin B12 is much less as compared to the conjugation in heme, because of absence of one of the methine bridges in vitamin B12. So when we see the structure of vitamin B12, the macrocyclic ring in vitamin B12 is called the Corrin ring, which is similar to the porphyrin ring in hemoglobin. The only difference is in the conjugation of the two rings. One of the methine bridges is missing between the 2 pyrrole nuclei in the Corrin ring, and the conjugation is much less, as we've just seen in the structures. Around the cobalt atoms, there are 4 positions occupied by 4 nitrogen atoms from the Corrin ring. The 5th position is occupied by an imidazole residue, and the 6th position is occupied by cyanide in the isolated form of the vitamin, which is called cyanocobalamin. Vitamin B12 coenzyme is the active factor of the vitamin, which is helping it to perform the various actions which are required in the body. The vitamin B12 binds reversibly with one enzyme, which is the coenzyme, and then gets released, and then again binds to another, carrying out important metabolic reactions. So the active factor, as we say, the enzyme which is helping vitamin B12 to act inside the body, carry out important metabolic reactions inside the body, is vitamin B12 coenzyme. Another disease which is in the category of anemia is called pernicious anemia, as we have just discussed, which is due to the deficiency of cobalt in the body. No higher organism can synthesize vitamin B12. It can only be synthesized by bacteria. By the word no higher organism, by the phrase no higher organism, we mean that human beings and other higher animals, they cannot synthesize vitamin B12, and it can be synthesized only by bacteria. Pernicious anemia may be due to the cobalt deficiency inside the body, or inability of certain people to absorb cobalt through their intestinal walls. That means in case where there is a patient suffering from some kind of a tumor in the intestinal walls, and some portion of the intestines has been removed because of that. In that case, cobalt is not properly absorbed in the body, and that results in the disease called pernicious anemia, which again maybe is due to the deficiency of cobalt in the body. And the remedy for pernicious anemia is the applying of vitamin B12 injections, of which periodic courses are to be given lifelong. Periodic courses means within regular intervals of time, and these injections have to be given lifelong because of the fact that our body or the patient's body cannot synthesize vitamin B12. It has to be supplied from outside. The next metal which we come to is zinc, and we will be discussing the deficiency and excess of zinc and the diseases related to these. Now, the deficiency of zinc in the body or in mammals, it leads to skeletal disorders, hair abnormalities, skin lesions, and inhibition of sexual maturity. In humans, lack of zinc probably leads to dwarfism, particularly in the pre-adolescent stage, and to this dwarfism other factors may also contribute, but one of the factor is the deficiency of zinc. So, if zinc becomes deficient in the pre-adolescent stage in case of humans, it may lead to dwarfism. Zinc deficiency also leads to perverted sense of smell and taste called dysgenesia and dysomnia respectively. Now, perverted sense of smell and taste means a disturbed sense of smell and taste, and perverted sense of smell is termed as dysgenesia, and perverted sense of taste is termed as dysomnia. This further leads to acute lack of appetite, and this is called anorexia. The disease linked to acute lack of appetite. Now, why there is acute lack of appetite? Because if a person cannot smell and taste properly, or if a person has a perverted sense of smell and taste, then it is very obvious that the person will be also suffering from acute lack of appetite. He won't feel like eating anything, and this acute lack of appetite, another disease called anorexia, and it also can lead to certain psychological problems. Zinc deficiency also leads to delay in wound healing because of reduced synthesis of collagen, which is the protein required for healing. And since collagen is an important protein, collagen contains zinc, and if zinc is deficient, collagen formation will be less, and it will lead to delay of any wound which has occurred on the body. The remedy for deficiency of zinc is adding zinc as a supplement to the diet of people having deficiency of zinc, which relieves the symptoms. So, simply adding or increasing the amount of zinc which is there in number of nuts and a number of green leafy vegetables, just increasing that in the daily diet can relieve the zinc deficiency and the symptoms of zinc deficiency in such. Since zinc can never be in excess in the body, so there is no disease which is linked to the excess of zinc. Now, coming on to the next metal ion, which is manganese. The deficiency of manganese has been tested on laboratory animals. A change in the skin and hair color and the growth pattern of skin and hair has been observed due to the deficiency of manganese. Color of the skin and the hair changes, and the way they are growing, the way their hair are growing, or where the way the texture of the skin is going, is slight amount of change which has been observed in this case. Apart from this, a genetically induced abnormality which is the lack of coordination called ataxia, has also been seen due to manganese deficiency. Ataxia is a genetically induced condition. It is not due to dietary deficiency, and it is resulting in the lack of coordination in the system, lack of coordination between various in the biological system. The remedy for the deficiency of manganese is that if the diet of expectant mothers is supplemented with manganese, the offspring does not have ataxia even though genetically prone to it. But the symptoms can be manifested again in the next generation. That means if a person is suffering from ataxia and if that person is an expectant mother and she is given a diet with the wholesome amount of manganese, then the offspring will not have ataxia, although it is genetically prone to it. But again, these symptoms of ataxia may be manifested or may be found in the further generations if the same thing is not carried out. That means if the deficiency of manganese is not being compensated by the provision of manganese in the diet. Coming to the next metal ion, which is copper, and copper can be both in deficient amounts and in excess in the body also. The normal requirement of copper is 100 to 150 milligrams. Since copper is stored in the body, it is stored in the plasma in the form of ceruloplasmin, and it is stored in the liver tissues in the form of metallothionein. So the chances that it becomes deficient are low, but some people are genetically prone to the deficiency of copper. Now this is a thing which we have come to know, that copper is stored in the body. Just like iron which is stored in the body in the form of ferritin, copper is also stored in the body in the form of ceruloplasmin and in the form of metallothionein. So something which is stored in the body, the chances that it is deficient in the body becomes very low unless and until it is regularly excreted out. But again, it becomes deficient in some people who are genetically prone to this deficiency. The symptoms of deficiency, it leads to a progressive brain disorder. Progressive brain disorder means a brain disorder which continues to increase in babies, called Menkes disease. It is also called Menkes kinky hair syndrome. The copper containing enzyme, which is cytochrome C, is lacking in such infants. The ceruloplasmin level in plasma is also low. That means the storage of copper in the body is low, and the enzyme which contains copper is also absent in such infants, which leads to the Menkes disease. Copper deficiency in animals leads to lesions in the walls of major arteries. Lesions means weak patches. So there are weak patches in the walls of the major arteries due to the deficiency of copper. This happens due to the absence of cross-linking between the polypeptide chains, which results from the condensation following oxidative deamination of lysyl side chains with the help of monoamine oxidase, which is a copper containing enzyme. Now, since copper is absent, there is absence of a cross-linking in the polypeptide chains, which are an important factor of or important component of the arteries. And since a cross-linking is absent between the polypeptide chains, as a result of this, there are weak patches in the arteries, and these cross-linkings are due to the presence of copper, and with the help of monoamine oxidase, which is a copper containing enzyme, it helps in the cross-linking. And since copper is deficient, so cross-linking is absent, which leads to weak patches in the walls of the major arteries. And since if there are weak patches in the walls of the major arteries, then the blood which is flowing through the arteries, which causes or creates a pressure in the arteries are not able to withstand that pressure, which can be fatal. Now, the excess of copper leads to a disease called Wilson's disease in humans. This is again a genetically controlled disease. Excess copper gets stored in the liver and then in the central nervous system. Wilson's disease is thus a group of symptoms called syndrome, including liver cirrhosis, that means the dysfunctioning of the liver. It also causes tremors and a lack of coordination and balance, and certain other mental disorders. These are all a group of diseases or symptoms which is called syndrome, which can occur due to the excess of copper in the body. Now, this excess may be due to two reasons. Either the patient's body is unable to synthesize apoceruloplasmin to make use of the copper present, thus leading to the local excess. Apoceruloplasmin is again a protein which utilizes copper in the body, and if it is absent, then copper can be in excess in the body, local excess in the body. The metallothionein in the liver, metallothionein, as we have understood, is a protein which is storing copper in the liver. So, the metallothionein in the liver of such a patient binds copper too strongly due to some abnormality which leads to excess. If metallothionein will not release copper in the body, then of course it may lead to excess of copper in the liver, which ultimately leads to liver cirrhosis or dysfunctioning of the liver. There is an early indication of Wilson's disease by which a person, it can be detected that a person has excess of copper in the body, which includes the deposition of brown or green rings on the cornea of such patients. Brown or green rings, as we can, this is an early indication that the amount of copper in a particular patient's body might be in excess. And the remaining symptoms which we have discussed as a syndrome, they occur later on, which is liver cirrhosis, tremors, etc. They occur later on, and this is the first indication of copper being in excess. Now, the remedy for copper in deficiency and excess, chelation therapy. If the copper is in excess in the body, for that chelation therapy can be started at an early stage using either D-penicillamine or EDTA in the form of disodium calcium EDTA. Now, what do we understand by chelation therapy? That penicillamine or EDTA can be administered to patients having excess of copper in the body, and these drugs can form a chelate of ring structure with copper and excrete it out through the urine. Now, EDTA which is to be administered, EDTA as we know is ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid and a hexadentate ligand, and it has to be administered in the form of disodium calcium EDTA. Now, why can't EDTA be administered as such in the human system? Because of the fact that disodium is required, because EDTA is an organic ligand and it will be insoluble in the lipids and the water, which is since our body contains maximum amount of water, and calcium is there because of the fact that EDTA can form a very good complex with calcium once it enters the body, and it will tend to leach out calcium or remove calcium from the bones. So, to prevent that, EDTA has to be supplied in the form of disodium calcium EDTA. However, D-penicillamine is the preferred drug. 1 gram of this drug is required daily to remove 30 to 50 milligrams of copper through excretion in urine. The dosage is later reduced when lesser amount of copper is left. Coming on to the next metal, which is calcium, and the deficiency and excess of calcium also causes certain diseases. First, we discussed the diseases caused due to the deficiency of calcium in the biological system. Deficiency of calcium leads to weakness of bones. In young children, calcium deficiency along with the deficiency of vitamin D leads to rickets. Rickets is a disease where the bones of young children become very soft and they tend to bend, and this disease causes a curved legs and arms in young children if they are having a deficiency of copper as well as vitamin D. In older people, generally above 40 years of age, why above 40? Because generally hormonal changes start to take place at above 40 years. Calcium deficiency leads to osteoporosis. Osteoporosis means brittleness of bones, where bones are easily prone to breakage, making them fracture prone. Women are more prone to this condition because again because of the hormonal changes which occur above the age of 40. The remedy for the deficiency of calcium in the body is calcium supplementation at an early stage can help to make up the deficiency of calcium. That means the supplementations in the form of tablets of calcium plus vitamin D can help to overcome this problem at a later stage. The disease now caused due to the excess of calcium is what we will be discussing. The deposition of calcium, if in excess in the joints or as stones in the urinary or gallbladder, can occur. The blood of such patients is rich in calcium, and when it gets something to convert it into insoluble salt, it gets deposited. So, when the blood of such patients which is rich in calcium, calcium otherwise is present in the soluble form in the body, but when some ions enter into the body like oxalate ions, they convert calcium into calcium oxalate, and calcium oxalate gets deposited in the form of stones, or it gets deposited in the form of scum in the joints, which makes the joints stiff and immovable. In that case, the ions which help calcium to deposit is generally oxalate, which is present in tomatoes and spinach. So, the people who are having a problem of stone either in the urinary bladder or in the kidney or gallbladder, they are told to avoid tomatoes and spinach in their food. And the only remedy for the excess of calcium in the body is the provision of EDTA in the form of a medicine to the patient. EDTA will form a soluble complex with calcium and will excrete the excess amount of calcium from the body. As we know, EDTA can form a very good complex with calcium. Once we have discussed some important metal ions and their excess and deficiency in the biological system, now we need to know that the analysis of metal ions in the body fluids can also be used as a diagnostic tool. For example, the monitoring of copper concentration in the blood can give indications of infectious hepatitis, cirrhosis of liver, any kind of a malignant growth, psoriasis, etc. That means if the concentration of copper drastically changes in the body, that can give indications of these various diseases which may be in their formative stage, because symptoms of diseases occur later on. The copper concentration in the blood is proportional to the severity of the disease in many of these cases. So, if the concentration of copper is changing drastically, that means the disease might be severe, but its symptoms are yet not visible till date. So, we will continue in our next session. Thank you.